Bonjour! Thank you for joining me today for Princess Storytime. Today I'm going to be reading from a very old fairy tales book. This book is 70 years old, and your grandparents might have had some of these stories read to them when they were little. Today's story is retold by Katherine Gibson, and it is the story of the Shoemaker and the Elves. Once upon a time, there was a poor shoemaker and his wife. He had worked hard at his bench every day of his life. As for his wife, none was more thrifty than she. Still, misfortune fell upon the old couple. The time came when the shoemaker had just enough leather to make one pair of shoes and no money with which to buy more. The night before he went to bed, he carefully cut the shoes out so that not a scrap was left. Then he and his wife went to sleep to wait for the morrow. In the morning, when the shoemaker came to his workbench, he was surprised to see the shoes finished, and better work he had never seen. Soon a customer entered the shop. As the shoes fit nicely and were fine to look upon, the customer paid more than usual. The shoemaker was now able to buy leather for 2 more pairs and to get a bit of meal for the empty bin. That night, he cut out 2 pairs of shoes, meaning to finish them in the morning. Thankfully, he and his wife went to their beds. The shoemaker arose early to be about his work. There on his bench were the 2 pairs of shoes, even handsomer than the first ones. Almost at once they were bought for the mayor and his son. The shoemaker was now able to buy leather for 4 pairs of shoes, and he bought a bit of sausage too. That evening he cut out the 4 pairs and put them on his bench. "Tonight," said his wife, "let us watch and see who our kindly visitors can be." So they hid themselves behind a coat. On the stroke of midnight, through the window, quick as a dream, hopped 2 tiny men. They were well formed from toe to top, but they had not so much as a shirt between them. At once they set to work. Their fingers flew so it was quite impossible to see what they did. Yet they were so small that when they wished to cut the heavy wax thread with the cobbler's big scissors, one had to catch hold of the left handle, the other of the right. Out they both jumped together, then in. Out, in, snip, snap, snip. Now the shoemaker and his wife ate roast on Sunday. They planned on a goose for Christmas. "Let's show our little friends we are grateful and make them clothes for Christmas," said the shoemaker. "A wonderful idea," cried his wife. Straightway she got a length of red flannel. From it she made tiny breeches, little cloaks, and jerkins. She made little pointed red caps, each trimmed with a long feather. She knitted red hose, while her husband made little red shoes. Every night the 2 little men came to work. On Christmas Eve, no shoes were cut, but in their places on the cobbler's bench were the outfits for the little men. The shoemaker and his wife hid themselves and waited. At the stroke of midnight, through the window they came. The elves were shivering, for snow lay on the ground. When the elves saw their little suits, they gave cries of joy, no louder than the squeals of young mice. Instantly they dressed. They hopped and capered about. As they danced, they sang, "Oh, now we are dressed in king's scarlet the best. And came we by window, or came we by door? We come not again, for we're cobblers no more." And so it was. The little men never returned. But from that day on, the shoemaker and his wife prospered. They even had sweet pudding with their goose, and not just on Christmas either. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope to see you again soon. Au revoir.